On the grey shores of the Baltic, where the Vistula meets the sea, stood a city that could not decide what it was. German in language, Polish by treaty, and sovereign in name only. It flew its own flag, issued its own stamps, and dreamed of freedom under the gaze of the world. But in the gathering storm of the 20th century, Danzig's freedom proved as fragile as parchment in a gale. This is the story of the free city of Danzig, a nation born of compromise, destroyed by conquest. Welcome to the Library of Lost Lands, where we resurrect the stories of countries that no longer exist, places that flickered briefly upon the map before vanishing into the folds of history. Today, we journey to the Baltic coast, to a land that existed between empires, between wars, and between identities, the free city of Danzig. From 1920 to 1939, it was a semi-independent city-state, carved out by the Treaty of Versailles and watched over by the League of Nations. A fragile attempt to balance justice for Poland and dignity for Germany in the uneasy peace after the First World War. Danzig was an old Hanseatic port, a city of merchants and mariners, warehouses and spires. Its narrow streets echoed with German voices, though Polish traders and Jewish families added their own melodies to the mix. It sat at the mouth of the Vistula River, commanding Poland's access to the sea, a fact that made it both indispensable and contested. When the map of Europe was redrawn after the Great War, Poland was reborn after more than a century of partitions. But granting Danzig directly to Poland would have enraged its German population. Leaving it with Germany would have denied Poland a vital maritime lifeline. So the victors crafted a compromise. The Treaty of Versailles declared that Danzig would be neither Polish nor German, but a free city under the protection of the League of Nations. Poland would enjoy special rights, control over foreign policy, customs union, and access to the port. Danzig would have its own senate, its own flag, and a hope, however fragile, of self-rule. The founding of the free city was meant to symbolize a new era, one where international law could resolve old hatreds and oversight could replace empire. Danzig became a showcase of post-war idealism, a city whose independence was guaranteed not by might, but by the promise of collective security. For a time, it worked. Ships came and went, trade flowed, and the city's merchants thrived. Its streets bustled with life. German opera houses, Polish schools, and the clatter of trams across cobbled squares. It was a city where two nations coexisted uneasily, yet managed to keep the peace. But the peace was built on sand. Beneath the veneer of civility simmered resentment. The German majority chafed under what they saw as Polish interference, while the Polish minority accused local authorities of discrimination. Disputes over language, education, and employment festered. And as the 1930s dawned, the world darkened. The Great Depression struck hard, and with it came political radicalization. In 1933, the Nazi Party swept to power in Germany, and soon their ideology found fertile ground in Danzig. The city's Senate became dominated by Nazi sympathizers who sought to reunite with the Reich. The League of Nations, distant and cautious, could do little to restrain the rising tide. Meanwhile, Poland, sensing danger, began constructing its own port at Gdynia, reducing reliance on Danzig and deepening the city's economic woes. By the late 1930s, Danzig's freedom had become a hollow phrase. Nazi banners fluttered in its squares, opponents were silenced, and Hitler's voice echoed in its council chambers. In 1939, the tension snapped. Germany demanded the return of Danzig and the construction of an extraterritorial corridor across Polish territory. Poland refused. On the 1st of September 1939, German troops invaded Poland, citing the Danzig question as one of their justifications. The free city's Nazi-aligned authorities welcomed the Wehrmacht with open arms. The experiment in neutrality was over. The free city was formally annexed into Reichsgau Danzig, West Prussia, its institutions dissolved, its independence erased. The League of Nations, once its guardian, watched helplessly as Europe plunged into war. Under Nazi rule, the city's Jewish population was annihilated. Polish citizens faced persecution, deportation, and death. the nearby Stutthof concentration camp bore witness to the cruelty unleashed. Danzig became another cog in the machinery of occupation and genocide. When the war ended in 1945, the city lay in ruins. By the terms of the Potsdam Agreement, Danzig was restored to Poland, and its German population, centuries old, was expelled westward. New settlers arrived from across Poland, and the city took a new name, Gdansk. The free city existed no more, its flags burned, its institutions dissolved, its identity scattered to memory. Modern Gdansk is a city reborn. Its reconstructed Hanseatic facades line the Motlawa River. Its shipyards would later spark the solidarity movement that helped topple communism. Yet beneath the bricks and the cobblestones lingers the memory of that strange interwar chapter, when a city tried to be free under the watch of the world and discovered that paper guarantees could not hold back the tide of war. The free city of Danzig was an ideal, an attempt to build peace through compromise, to reconcile rival claims with fairness. Yet ideals, when unguarded, can be devoured by ambition. Was Danzig ever truly free, or merely a hostage to geography and power? And in our own age, when borders shift and nations fracture, do we still believe that law can tame the passions of history?